On today's episode, we have episode 1 of our team-by-team fantasy football previews, where we go division by division to find each team's most relevant fantasy storylines. First up, we have the NFC East and the NFC North. Before we get into that, why don't we get a quick word from the episode's sponsor? Because today's episode of the Regression to the Mean podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball on Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest way to play fantasy football. Just draft your team and that's it. No waivers, trades, or weekly start-sit decisions. Underdog will automatically play your best players at each position every week. Sign up today with promo code RTM to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. You can sign up for as little as $10 to start drafting today. All right. Team-by-team previews, fantasy storylines, looming questions. This is the kind of stuff that gets me up out of bed when we're talking redraft. Shifting gears here to the NFC North, my eyes deceive me. I see Keegan Thompson here to cover the Bears. Aidan, you didn't give yourself the Bears. That's an interesting choice. I thought you were going to be all over Chase Claypool. I thought that's what you're going to spend the whole entire
I think
preview on.
People have already heard my biased bullshit about the Chicago Bears, so I thought I'd kick into someone else who would at least give us a kind of neutral point of view. But buy all the Bears.
Okay.
Take it away, Keegan.
Hashtag no bias. Keegan, tell us a little bit about the Bears in 2023.
I just think you have to throw everything out the window when you think about this year's Bears offense and what they're going to do fantasy-wise, because they are not going to play like last year. They are not going to keep Justin Fields' hand tied behind his back when it comes to the passing game. Like, they're going to unlock him a little bit. They're going to give him more trust with the ball. He's going to be throwing a bit more. Second year under Luke Getsy coordinator for Justin Fields, so he'll be more comfortable in the offense. So I think you kind of have to throw all your assumptions based on last year's data out the window with this team and just let it be the eye test. And my eye test tells me that Justin Fields is in the conversation for QB1. He was QB5 last year in a pretty abysmal passing year for him. No offense, Holler, but statistic-wise, not great for him. And I think his room to grow for the passing game is exponential, right? I mean, he's averaged 153 passing yards a game in 27 career games that he's played. So there's plenty of room there. I mean, that is like a very, very low. Like, it's in the bottom of however many players rank in that specific stat window. I won't get into that much, but you throw all the things out from last year, you assume by the eye test, and I'm all over DJ Moore this year. Justin Fields is a QB1 potential guy with rushing upside, of course, and the passing game is just going to get better. The big thing for the Bears, though, when it comes to fantasy, specifically redraft leagues, is you might just want to avoid the running back room here. In general, I mean, I'm not going to go out there and draft Khalil Herbert as a zero RB guy because I think Khalil Herbert's going to be the bona fide running back one for this team. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a committee approach all year between Roschon, Foreman, and Khalil Herbert. And on top of that, they're all going to lose some rushing upside because of Justin Fields. So throw all your expectations based on last year out the window. Believe in Justin Fields passing the eye test. He finally has a wide receiver one. This is probably one of the best quarterback situations that DJ Moore's ever had. So buy back into DJ Moore. Mix in a little Darnell Mooney and Robert Tonyan as a nice little tight end sleeper for them, and avoid the running backs this year.
I love it.
I love it,
a
Keegan.
Tight
that was
synopsis.
Awesome.
That was no notes there. Aidan, before I share my team, I'm curious to know, tell us a little bit about how you're approaching the Minnesota Vikings in 2023 and some of the major things that you will be looking out for.
The biggest thing that I'm excited for, is I've already talked about him a ton, is what exactly is the ceiling for Jordan Addison. Adam Thielen, over 3 years with Justin Jefferson's, was wide receiver 10 in their first year when JJ finished wide receiver 6, which I don't see being very possible. And wide receiver 28 and wide receiver 30 last year. If I had to take a shot in the dark, I don't think it's an unrealistic take to say Jordan Addison could be right around that wide receiver 25 mark. I think he's stepping into such a clear target share where he's going to see 100, 120 plus targets. He's a very safe option for me. The second big storyline, obviously, is what are we going to expect from Mattison this year? Does he pick up where Dalvin Cook left off, or is he kind of just a Mike Davis 2.0 and he's just another offseason fool's gold that we're expecting to get this huge volume role? So personally, I'm not really buying Mattison. I've said it time and time again. Typically, when you have two very talented running backs on football teams, they coexist together, and that was never the case with Mattison. I don't care how much they try to spin it. Dalvin Cook was taking the bulk of touches every season for a reason, while Mattison rode the pine. And lastly is Captain Kirk himself. Kind of going back to my Dallas Cowboys preview, he's such a safe QB option. He's kind of just wakes up and throws for 300, 400 yards every Sunday, unless it's Monday Night Football. Finished as the QB7, and they were a top 3 passing attempt offense. You figure with Jordan Addison being added, TJ Hawkinson really ramping up that offense, and the departure of Dalvin Cook, they're going to be in the top 3 to 5 again. So this is a really safe option. It's not sexy. It's not something you're really bragging to your friends about. But if you walk out of your leagues with Kirk Cousins as your QB, maybe even handcuff him to Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison, I'd be pretty excited personally. So this is the team that I think is going to score a ton of points. They're going to pass the ball a ton. Defense is regressing and aging quite a bit. So this could be very positive game scripts for a fantasy perspective, in my opinion.
How dare you not mention TJ Hawkinson? How dare you? After all the TJ chatter that we had on the last episode, how dare you not bring up TJ Hawkinson? The team that TJ Hawkinson played for, the Detroit Lions, is in the NFC North as well. And when I'm looking at this roster, my main question that I have is Amon-Ra St. Brown going to lead the NFL in targets this season? The guy had 9 targets per game last year, which was 10th most. He's now in year 3 with Jared Goff in this Ben Johnson offense. And I think he has one of the best roles of any wide receiver in the entire NFL. His biggest competitors for targets with J-Mo out for the first 6 games right now are Marvin Jones, Josh Reynolds, rookie tight end Sam Laporta, and the running backs on this team, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. If we don't even know if Jameson Williams is good either. And even if he is, he's going to operate in space and on deep shots, which is a low target role anyway. Yeah, we know your dynasty shares, but we don't know if he's good or
gambling.
Not. Like we don't know if he's good. Yeah, he stays on FanDuel. So that's my question, right? He averaged 9 targets per game last year. Year 3, no target competition. He could legit lead the NFL in targets, which would be around 12 targets per game. So he would have to see 3 more targets per game. And I just don't see who's taking his targets outside of the running backs in this offense, especially with James Williams suspended. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the safest picks in all of fantasy football if you're playing in a PPR format. And he has wide receiver 1 upside if he starts catching touchdowns. So I'm all in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm excited to see if he can lead the NFL in targets this year. Aidan, passing it off to you for the... Oh, no shit. Keegan, Aidan, you showed yourself so much restraint. You didn't choose the Bears and you didn't choose the Packers. This is pretty wild. So Keegan Thompson,
this would have gotten ugly, dude. This would have gotten ugly.
Let's hear your thoughts on the last team in our team by team preview, the Green Bay Packers.
I think the Green Bay Packers wide receiver core is best ball for me. Like that's the simplest way I could say it. I think Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed are good best ball targets, but I think the offense with Jordan Love under center versus Aaron Rodgers is just going to be such a different look than it was last year. And obviously we all know that Rodgers wasn't playing to the best of his ability, but I think the biggest stat for probably the probably going to be the number 1 targeted weapon from this offense in fantasy will be Christian Watson. But I mean, his ADOT last year, average depth of target, was 14.3 yards. That's huge. And that is in large part because of who he played with last year, and that's Aaron Rodgers. And no, their deep ball did not connect a ton last year, and Aaron Rodgers was actually really inefficient on the deep ball. But I just don't think that Rodgers and Love are on the same tier, and the offense is going to be run differently. Jordan Love is a guy who has not started very many games in his career. To expect him to go out and just be Aaron Rodgers and lead this offense and kind of command it and go off structure or not play under the coach's game plan and just kind of take them wherever he wants to take them would be, I think, foolish to assume. I don't know how much I'll be targeting Christian Watson or Romeo Doubs in redraft leagues this year, just because I think the offense is going to be a bit more balanced. But I will say, to the opposite effect, I like the Green Bay Packers running back room a lot this year. I think Aaron Jones is kind of slipping in value a little bit. He's getting pushed down because, one, the wide receivers are getting pushed up, but two, he's just getting pushed down in general because of the offense he's tied to. But this is still like a lot of the same game planning and coordinating in the offense. And Aaron Jones is a good pass catcher, a really good PPR running back. And A.J. Dillon had an atrocious year, even by his own standards. He came out and he recognized that some of his parts of his game were off. And because of, I think, their offensive attack being a bit more balanced, I think A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are both in play this year as really good, viable redraft options, whether it's PPR, whether it's standard, half PPR. I like both of them a ton this year in fantasy, while I'll probably be trying to avoid Jordan Love and Dobbs and Christian Watson, and unless it's best ball. But for redrafts, I'm avoiding them. And then my mini flag plant. It's not a full-blown flag plant. I might get there by the end of the offseason, but A.J. Dillon is going to outproduce Aaron Jones in touchdowns this year. That's my mini flag plant for the year.
Last year, and it went horribly. So I thought A.J. Dillon was going to outscore Jones. It was a bummer.
He pretty much like spit on my face, so I'm not doing that. But to your point, if I am targeting this offense, like you mentioned, it's the running back room for me. I think it's going to be a pretty balanced offense. And if you put the hopes of your fantasy squad in Jordan Love, I would first recommend you check into rehab, because that is fucking insane, and I will not be doing that.
Jordan Love fits the profile.
Like any football. Hasn't played like any football.
He kind of fits the profile.
Football. That's the thing.
There's a lot of historical precedent.
Rip on him again.
There's a lot of historical precedent of Jordan Love types being smashes at ADP. It's not like I've gone through the data for the past 10 years. I'm just. Can
you give me a couple of quarterback names who fit the mold or have exceeded this in the past while we're on this? Because I want to see what names we're comparing Jordan Love to.
Yeah, let me pull this up. And again, first-round quarterbacks typically have done this. He was a first-round quarterback. So ages 23 to 24, there have been 23 to 24, and we can even do 25 years old too, and that's very interesting. But yeah, ages 22 to 24, we have 2017 Deshaun Watson, 2020 Justin Herbert, 2016 Dak Prescott, 2019 Lamar Jackson, 2015 Blake Bortles, 2018 Patrick Mahomes, 2020 Kyler Murray, 2021 Herbert, 2021 Hurts, 2022 Fields, 2020 Gardner Minshew, and then if we add the 25-year-olds, I mean, there's a lot. Like, there's just there's a historical precedent.
Oh, so
I would
guys,
I would like to make one big point
Jordan
here.
Love was, all guys. A list of so many guys who were absolute dogs in college and then went into the NFL that were certified dudes at the quarterback position. And Jordan Love was not a certified dude. I just want to make sure that that's clear.
I'll take this one from Keegan. I think Bortles is definitely the worst one on that list, and I would take him three times again before. Like Gardner Minshew was
a dog in college. But he had proven production at the collegiate level before he got to the NFL.
Jordan Love was barely playing D1 football. Like, he's not a dude, was not a dude in high school, was not a dude in college. Has been riding the pine even with Aaron Rodgers hurt. Not a dude, but he does fit the bill. So we're going to give him a chance. I'm not, but you people can. And I wish you luck.
He threw 30 touchdowns. Like, in his collegiate season. Like, that's enough. He threw a ton of picks, but he threw like 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, would you like to tell me what conference you played in?
Okay, Gardner Minshew. Come on. With Mike
the Pac-12?
Leach?
No, we're not comparing Utah State to Wazoo.
Let's see. Jordan Love in 2019.
We don't have to do this. All right. No, we need to wrap this up.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Jordan Love threw for...
That's a mistake.
What did he throw for? Oh, my God. What is this? Is blocking grades? PFF. What are we doing here? Jordan Love in 2019.
Jordan Love threw for 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions.
What about 2018? He threw 32 touchdowns and 3,500 yards. I don't know, man.
He had massive regression before the Packers fell on their face and picked the wrong guy.
Look, I know there's a lot of bias here in this chat, but Team Christian Watson, let's go. That'll be it for our team-by-team previews, Part 1. Stay tuned for Part 2, NFC West and NFC South. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time.